Your monthly subscription box from postflybox.com includes all the materials needed to tie a dozen flies, along with some extra goodies. Although most Isonychias emerge from their nymphal shucks after crawling up onto streamside rocks, some do emerge in the stream, and trout seem exceptionally eager to take them during this vulnerable stage of life. For this Isonychia Emerger, we're going to start with a good-looking size 12 Scud Emerger hook. After getting the hook firmly secured in the jaws of your tying vise, load a bobbin with a spool of black unithread. Get the thread started on the hook shank behind the eye and take a few wraps rearward before snipping off the excess tag. Take a few more rearward wraps until your thread's located just in front of the hook point. Brown Zealon is used to imitate the emerger's trailing shuck. Snip an inch-long segment free from the rest, then separate it lengthwise into two roughly equal strands. Save one of the strands for your next fly, then snip one end of the other off square. Place the snipped off end on top of the hook shank and take a few somewhat loose wraps of tying thread to secure it. This will allow you to pull the material under the wraps in order to shorten the butt ends. Continue taking thread wraps to bind the Zealon to the top of the hook shank well down into the bend. Then return your tying thread to in front of the hook point. Trim the trailing shuck off so it's about a hook gap in length. Pluck an ample clump of maroon SST dubbing from the packet and use it to create a slender 3-inch long noodle on your tying thread that's tapered at both ends. Start taking wraps with the noodle so the dubbing begins right at the base of the trailing shuck. Continue taking touching wraps up the hook shank to build up the body of the fly. Ideally, you want to end up with bare thread at a point 1/3 of the way down the hook shank from the eye. If there are any truly wayward fibers sticking out, now's a good time to trim them off close. White Zealon is used for the fly's emergent wing. As you did before, snip off an inch-long segment, then separate it lengthwise into two equal strands. Trim one end of one of the strands off square and place it on top of the hook shank at the location of your tying thread. Take nice tight thread wraps to secure the material to the top of the hook shank, first up to the eye, then back to the beginning of the maroon body. Take additional thread wraps to smooth out the area in front of the wing. Reach in with your tying scissors and snip the wing off in line with the back edge of the body. Go back to the packet of dubbing and this time pull out only a small amount. Use the dubbing to create a thin noodle on your tying thread that's about half the length of the previous one. Take wraps with the noodle to build up the thorax of the fly between the base of the wing and the back edge of the hook eye. Get hold of your whip finish tool and use it to do a 5 or 6 turn whip finish, seat the knot well, and snip your tying thread free. Once again, trim off any errant fibers. And that's the Isonychia Emerger. Adding floatant to the emergent wing will keep it visible on the water's surface while the rest of the fly hangs beneath it.